Hello.
Hello.
I'm Callum.
And I'm Nick.
And this is
That's Eurovision, baby.
Yes.
Love being on the baby button.
Yes, he's got in baby duties this time. Oh god, we sound like parents whenever I say that.
Yeah, I feel
he's on
like-
baby duties tonight, guys.
People are going to think that we've got like a child waiting in the other room that we're neglecting while we're potting.
No, because this week you've been the child, haven't you, Nick?
I have. I've been very sick this week, unfortunately.
Yes.
We've had to push our filming back a couple of
Yes.
times. But the one good thing that I get out of all of this is that I get the baby button this week as a sympathy prize for
Yeah.
all of my hardship and my suffering. I had a cold.
Do you want to press the baby button again? Yes, we have joint custody over the baby button. I'm wondering how many of these like puns I can make around us being parents. The only parents we are is to
It's to a pod track 4.
I was going to say, yeah. The only parents we are to is a struggling podcast with a low amount of followers.
But no matter how ugly she is, we love her nonetheless.
We love her dearly.
Yeah.
So we're coming back to you this week, guys, with another off-season Eurovision treat.
Ooh.
And this time, it's getting controversial.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Because we want to talk about a couple of Eurovision hear me outs.
Okay.
So a hear me out, I guess, would be an opinion that you know isn't necessarily held to high regard in the Eurovision community, but you feel like you want to bat for. I
Yeah.
believe the Gen Z of today say they'll die on this hill for it.
Oh, okay.
Kind
Yeah.
of opinions
We're
of different...
down with the kids.
Yeah, we're down with the lingo.
Yeah, we're down with the kids.
Opinions
We know what's up.
of different aspects of Eurovision that you want to give the time and opportunity to tell the good folks listening, guys, hear me out.
Yeah.
If you think about this differently, you'll actually see that I'm right.
Or if you think about it at all, you might see that we're completely wrong, but you're going to listen to us anyway.
Exactly. So we have both presented, I believe, 3 hear me out topics that we are going to present, bring to the table, discuss to you guys, and then you can leave your
Polite, friendly.
nuanced, critical, thought-based comments,
Constructive feedback.
in the comments for how much you're like, wow, Callum and Nick,
What
I
a
do
sh- what a
completely
dog
agree.
shit take.
Everything you say is correct about Eurovision. You are the objective center point of Eurovision fact and opinion. And yeah.
And I think we really showed that with one of our recent episodes, our ranking of the top streamed Eurovision songs,
Yes.
where clearly we managed to put out a completely objective take on all things, and it was so nice to see everybody in the comments underneath being like, wow,
You're absolutely correct.
exactly correct, no notes.
So we're going to be doing that again today. But yes, the topic is hear me outs.
So Callum,
Yes.
hear me out. Would you like to start?
Yes, I'll show you guys what I mean by this by dropping a little gem of a hear me out Eurovision opinion. So, guys, I'm going to need you to hear me out about this. But I am a true believer that James Newman's 2021 UK entry, Embers,
Fuck me, here we go.
is a camp classic. Yes. Let me die on this hill.
Yeah.
I don't think the song is good. I don't even think the song is okay. The song is shit.
Well, the take started somewhere
Yes.
that I expected, at least.
But here's what I want you guys to think about. When something is so bad, when something is so down the funnel and so dedicated to lacking any and all taste that actually it loops back around to being camp, that is exactly where the song sits in my head. It is the perfect mix of what the fuck were they thinking, mixed with a bit of nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday energy, and it just comes together. And it came on my playlist the other day, and I was like, I'm not going to hit skip.
Yeah.
I'm going to let this play out. And you know what? I had a great time. And I feel like we've all been a bit too harsh on old Embers. Poor James Newman getting 0 points in a system that was meant to be technically impossible to get 0 points for. And so I want us to sit together and to consider for a second that maybe if we open our hearts, our minds, and our ears, we too can appreciate the camp brilliance of a song like Embers.
Now let's discuss that.
Yes. What would you like to know?
Why?
Next question.
Secondly, how dare you? And third of all, do you reckon we should do a TikTok cut of that. Like, I feel like that Jet to Your Holiday thing is really going around at the moment.
We need to have just the clip of Embers from Eurovision, but it just has nothing beats a Jet to
Holiday.
So
I feel like that would be perfect.
I think you just have to let yourself go. Stop trying to consume based on taste. And just let it wash over you. Let the good times, let the cheap 2-for-1 flights to Magaluf wash over you. And I promise you, something will click, guys. I promise you, something will click and you'll learn to appreciate this song. Again, not because it's good.
Yeah.
Not because it deserved to come anything other than last place. But something that is so bad that it loops around again to kind of being brilliant.
Okay.
There is genius in this.
So actually, I can respect his opinion. I can get on board with this because I think it is a song that has made it onto some of our Eurovision playlists. And I will say, when you're a couple of Voddy sodas deep and a bit of Embers, the studio version, not the live version, for obvious reasons, comes on, feel the beat under your feet. Like,
the flaws on Embers.
Yeah, I genuinely think that James Embers could go toe to toe with Lady Gaga.
James Embers.
James Embers. Now tell me that James Embers is not a fantastic drag king name, by the way.
That is a good.
Yeah. But only in a very small.
No, I do like that
context. I'm willing. You know what? Come, if you're going to die on this hill. I'm not going to die on it with you.
Oh.
But I will walk up the side and supportively go, on you go,
It's a bit fun. And again, I just suspend your disbelief, guys. Listen to the song. Pretend you are on the cheapest flight, inter-European flight possible, where water costs money. But just imagine you're looking forward to that all-inclusive in Mallorca, Magaluf, the Costa del Sol.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I just feel like Embers would be the soundtrack to that trip. Tenerife.
Yeah. Where would you listen to the song Embers before flying?
Okay, no, guys, that is the question I want to pose, and then we'll move on. Which budget holiday destination are you flying to that Embers will be playing as the soundtrack for?
Yeah.
Leave your answers in the comments below. I want to hear them. I think for me it's Tenerife, because there's a Tenerife in Brisbane, and so therefore there's a connection.
Or Ibiza.
Ibiza. Wow, that's well nice. That is.
That's really nice.
Okay, Nick, I've set the scene.
Yeah.
I've set a tone for the hear me outs.
Yeah.
Do you smell what I'm standing in?
I smell it, and I wish it's pungent.
So, give me one. Give me something that you feel like you need to say to the crowd right now. Hear me out, guys.
I think that I stand almost entirely alone on this, but that's okay. I think that Azerbaijan 2023, Terrell Tranks, Tell Me More.
Oh, God.
Tell me more about why that song is not as popular as Snap is, when I feel that they serve functionally the same purpose.
Are we still angry about Snap from last week? It's just rolled into this week's episode.
Yeah, look, when I had to pick something to die on a hill about, it's that Snap can snap. But that there are so many other songs that I just... If Snap can do it, why can't they?
I can't...
And I just feel like this song is the perfect example. You've got weird moaning into the phone voice, which I think would make a funny TikTok anyway. Because realistically, like, Snap became super popular and started doing numbers on streaming because it got really big on TikTok. Primarily in an American market, which I think then expanded.
Sure.
Which, love that. Terrell Taranks did not.
Wait, so is your hear me out why isn't Tell Me More the 2023 Azerbaijani entry by Terrell Taranks? Why it hasn't gone
TikTok viral
with billions of views?
Yes. I just think that if Snap can do it, I don't see why they can't either. Because I unashamedly love this song. I think it's great.
I don't feel bad about Embers anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I actually feel better.
Mine's worse.
Yeah.
I unashamedly love this song. I think that it's fantastic. Look, I accept that this song's a bit shit, but I love it. And when I hear it, I just think that it's such a TikTokable song God, who am I? And I just don't see why it's not as big.
I'm really trying to find the space to hear you out.
Yeah.
I'm looking for it in my mind's palace.
Yeah.
I get it. Does it sit in the same category as a song like Snap? Yes, I can see that.
Thank you.
Sort of a nothing burger of a song designed to not offend. So I can see that, and I can see the song having the same sort of spirit in that it could like randomly go TikTok famous one day. We're seeing that happen with Deslicado at the moment.
Exactly.
We're seeing Napa of all songs getting super, super popular online, which is awesome to see, actually.
It should, because that was a really good song.
That song's good is the difference.
Oh, my boys.
Not my boys.
Oh.
They're not my beige biz.
Look, I think that this song is fabulous, and I think that it has just as much TikTok ability, and I just don't see why I can't have that. Because actually, I'm going to search this up right now.
What is he doing?
I'm checking.
He's doing live research on the pod, so now I'm going to have to vamp whilst I fill time.
Why is it only got 3 million streams?
That's 3 million more than it deserves.
That's excuse me.
Okay, look, hold my hand. This is a safe space for us to share these opinions. So, no, I'm supporting you.
Oh, thank you.
I give you permission to shine here.
Thank you.
I don't see it.
Okay.
I don't think the song is camp enough for the sort of adoration, but
well, you know.
I've not listened to the songs since 2023. How do you expect me to remember that part?
Well, no wonder. It's the part where he just like...
the whole song sounds the same.
I feel like there was a very funny tweet thread that I saw going around. I have no idea who it was from, so I do apologize. I can't give you credit, but someone was like, I understand why she's not calling him back, because at the start of every voicemail he opens with like and I wouldn't call him back either.
I'm back on board now.
See, it's Cam.
Yeah. Okay. We're adding that one to the bank, guys.
No.
Say it with your full chest.
Terrell Terranks is just as TikTokable as Snap and should be just as big, if not bigger. Hit me with your next one.
My next one, I feel like, is a continuation of this, and is a platform for me to rant endlessly and willingly about. And that is, and hear me out, I strongly believe that joke songs are an essential part to the fabric of Eurovision, and all these joke song haters just have no sense of humor and do not understand that art can be enjoyable and fun. I'm so sick of a song being dropped every year that makes you smile and makes you laugh, and everyone sits there and goes,
mocking the contest.
It's just
not taking it seriously.
Respectfully, get fucked. Now, I have enough optics to know that Nick and I were not big fans of the quote-unquote joke song this year, which would have been Espresso Macchiato.
Yeah.
But that had nothing to do with the song's humorous intent.
Yeah.
It was just the fact that they hated the vaudevillianness of that verse. It was a musical choice, not a thematic choice.
Yeah.
And it also came third.
Yeah.
So
exactly. And because that being said as well, joke songs can still be bad as well.
But this is what I'm saying. Joke songs can be good. They can be bad.
Yeah.
They can be anything. But the
ultimately they're essential.
That they are essential to the fabric of Eurovision. The biggest one that I will defend to my dying breath is No Rules, Windows 95 Man last year.
Yep.
And for those of you who just went, watching this, you're exactly who I'm talking to. Okay?
Speak your piece, Devo.
It's the fact that the song knows what it's trying to do, does it extremely well, is catchy as all hell. You know, I don't care if you don't like the song, but when you try to come onto fucking Twitter and try to it's making a mockery of Eurovision, these songs should be banned, it's like, your version of Eurovision would be so fucking boring without Tommy Cash's and Windows 95 Man's and all of these people throughout history, because I've said this throughout every episode of That's Eurovision Baby, and that is the best Eurovision years are the diverse ones. The ones that have songs that reach into every genre purse. And that includes campy, fun, irreverent hits. And I'll end at this, and I'll let you take the platform, which is that art can be funny, music can be funny and should be funny and should make you smile and laugh.
Sometimes it's okay to just have a good time, guys.
Just have a good time.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that there's something so fundamentally lovable about like joke acts, and some of the most
Joke
fun
act compliment, I just want to say.
some of the most fun and enjoyable times that you can have at Eurovision. Like years where a fantastic song wins is great,
Love.
but years where a song that's maybe not as serious but is just as enjoyable and brings an energy that I think a lot of people come to the contest for. If you only ever wanted to listen to good music, respectfully, I don't think that Eurovision's the place for you.
Look, and I just want to say and show respect to those who like consume Eurovision because they like the cultural and ethnic elements of it. I'm not trying to detract from that element at all. What I'm saying is that
You can have your cake and eat it too.
they work in tandem. For every fantastic cultural ethnically referencing song, I do appreciate that there's a song that's just being a little bit fun and dumb and not trying to ask too much of you other than just to let go and have a good time. And I think the ability to do that is a skill in itself.
Exactly. For every wasted love, there must be an espresso macchiato.
Yes.
Otherwise, the world falls out of balance.
Rant over. Nick, give me your next Timmy out.
So,
Yes.
I actually think that my next one works in quite nicely with the one that you just presented as well, because for every person that doesn't find any joy or any spark or any passion in any of the fun songs or the joke songs, I would say that a lot of those people are probably very serious people. For the very serious people, the Balkan Ballad.
Oh no. Where are we going?
It's time for the Balkan Ballad to die at Eurovision. Or it is time for it to be treated with the respect that it deserves as a song and be sent with a package that is deserving of a win.
I like that. That makes sense.
I think that there are so many fantastic examples of songs from many of the different countries in the Balkans that have sent fantastic ballad sort of style songs, because I know that just from basic understanding that it's a genre of music that really seems to resonate there.
The Euro fandom.
Exactly.
Malitva.
Exactly.
Fantastic song.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Has won Eurovision.
It's very deserving winner.
and especially like before the 2000s, I'd imagine won Eurovision quite a lot of times as well.
Yugoslavia won like once in like 91 or something. And I don't even think it was a ballad.
Party.
Correct me if I'm wrong, divas.
But what has been sent in the last couple of years where Balkan ballads have been sent have been woefully underserved by the staging and the delegation that have been sent with them to provide an experience that is worthy of Eurovision. I think that what we need to accept is that Eurovision is no longer a stand and sing competition.
Yeah.
It's no longer a place where the person with the best voice wins. It's the person with the best package.
The razzle dazzle.
Exactly. And unfortunately, it seems like for a lot of these sorts of styles of songs, these ballads, they really are just putting them up there as point and shoot sing-alongs. And it's just not enough.
Well, the Balkan Ballad of 2025, I would say, was Dobro Došli
Or
by Nina Zizic.
Yeah. Or Mila by
Or
Prince.
Mila. Unpack why they didn't work. Neither of them qualified.
Neither of them qualified because, unfortunately, I think that the taste for that sort of music outside of that region is about 10 years gone.
Well, I actually don't think it's a region problem. I think there's a very vocal minority of Eurovision bubble fans who will die on their hill. And you know what? Lots of hills.
Make your own YouTube
Or
video.
about hills. Who are very much like Eurovision attained perfection in 2008 with Molitva. And every song has to sound like that for me to validate it as something serious.
Because otherwise it's just not good
otherwise
music.
it's a joke song.
Yeah.
And I think it's like led to a lot of art even today that feels derivative of that era rather than feeling like it's taking that and improving it, which is what you're saying.
I think that you've actually helped me build my hill a little bit taller.
I've let you process.
Yeah. Because I think maybe that's exactly what it is it's just that these songs feel like they're from a bygone era because they're taking exactly what the blueprint was, and they're just putting a new vocalist and a new melody into it. But
and they're being dragged along the floor.
And because, as far as my understanding as well, a lot of the same songwriters that have been working since like the early 2000s are still the same songwriters that are.
Yeah, but if we're gonna level that critique, then Sweden is number one culprit there.
Thomas Gson.
Yeah. I
Jimmy
feel like
Thornfelt.
that is not a Balkan only problem.
Exactly. But it feels like while Sweden and some others are trying to sort of perform the same thing but reinvent it a little bit enough to stay
a bit more current.
To stay relevant.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that okay, so you can accuse the Swedish of sending like the same polished pop each year, but the thing is the blueprint that they're working from was built in like 2010, not 1994.
Well, it was built. Yeah, Sweden's always been at the forefront of pop music, right? Even in the 90s, Max Martin basically made modern pop music.
Yeah, exactly. Even entirely exclusively to Eurovision.
Yeah. So, like, I get it. Yeah. Whereas, like, I wouldn't say that Serbia or Montenegro or Croatia are exactly, like, leaders in modern
standing
music.
on the forefront.
Which, to be fair, if you're not a leader, maybe it's a good idea to, like, hark back to more ethnic or traditional sounding stuff. But you said it really well before. You said it's not that we need to retire the Balkan Ballad. Yeah. It's that we need to give it the respect it deserves in 2025. We need to give it the treatment that it deserves. We're not here to invalidate people who like the Balkan Ballad still and we'll always love them.
Dobrodošli was a very good song, and it was one that we really enjoyed, and we were actually really rooting for Nina.
I think it's more the fact that a lot of online voices, let's say Twitter, will harp on about how if Dobrodošli doesn't win, the Eurovision Song Contest is a sham or whatever. When it's like, Diva, get your head in 2025 and realize no one's fucking voting for that song with the package and the way it's presented. Yeah. Like, and it becomes almost a little bit virtue signaling that these fans keep banging on. And I think that's where you're getting into it.
I think it's also because it comes from the camp of purists who say that anything that isn't that is real music.
Yeah.
And not to lay that blame exclusively at the feet of people who love a Balkan Ballad, but it does seem to be a very high correlation between the audience of people that say anything that's won in the last couple of years isn't real music, but this one is.
Yep. And that's kind of what you're...
Exactly. Like, either let it die or serve it properly.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer good enough to just send a good singer with the same song and stand them on the middle of the stage and get them to sing out to the audience. It's no longer enough.
You've got to drag them across the stage.
Exactly.
Like a mop.
Well, apparently that's not enough either. What was the man to do?
They should have put him immediately after France.
Oh, perfect. He could have done all the cork.
Yeah,
that would have been great.
Yeah.
Probably terrible for his hair routine.
It's okay.
That's all right, Prince. That's me. I'm done. I apologise to any Balkan Ballad fans that were offended by this news, but I stand in my truth. Hit me with your next one.
My final hear me out.
No.
I feel like this is good. I feel like we're building a good momentum because my final hear me out, I feel like, is a little bit more serious than the other ones. And that is, I am wholly of the opinion that juries need to come back to the semi-final.
Jury.
Okay.
Hear me out.
I'm listening.
Firefighter.
Recent events have showcased that potentially, televote only approaches are doomed to fail unless significant changes happen. Why are we then allowing televote only in a semi-final? It's funny, you're pointing to the Balkan Ballads. I think that it also putting juries back in semi-finals allows countries like Montenegro to maybe get a bit more of a chance to make a final. And the thing is, you tend to get similar groups of countries not qualifying because their songs are sort of just not, whether it be for budget reasons, whether it be for, cultural reasons, whatever, they're inconsistent, in their qualification. And so I feel like juries, whether you like them or not, whether you think they're corrupt or not, whether they always vote for Greece or Cyprus, I think at the end of the day, what I do miss about the juries in the semi-final is the ability to get a few more songs that
diversify the pool.
Diversifying the pool, because the Balkan Ballad's doomed to fail if there's no jury in that semi-final, or a song that is I'm not here to say Red Sebastian or Theo Evan or any of these people would have qualified even with a jury. In fact, I don't think they would have.
No.
But I think like a jury would look at performance and stage packages and all these things and not just, I don't know, like the most...
Hee Coffee Man.
Yeah, Hee Coffee Man. We experimented with it for the last 3 Eurovisions, 23, 24, 25. And I do not believe that the change that has come through because of it is worth it. And whilst I understand there are a couple of slips, I think most notably was Eurovision 2022, Azerbaijan, Fade to Black. Is that his name? He was on the grandstand screaming.
I can't remember his name, but him.
Awful song. Got 0 points in the televote, qualified for the grand final, and got 12 points by different juries because of pure jury momentum, right? I think, hear me out, that it is okay for a slip to occur once in a couple of years if it means that the general quality of the grand final is a little bit more reflective of that diversity that I think makes a good Eurovision. Because otherwise, like, unfortunately, Montenegro, I just... like, and this is the thing too, is like people keep calling for like Romania and Hungary and Bulgaria all to come back, but they won't come back if they're going to come back to not qualify because they don't have the funds to compete with a Sweden. But hey, maybe if there's a jury system in, at least it's something to get them to the grand final.
Yeah. I guess speaking on behalf of the people,
yes.
Would you not say though that removing the jury from this process and having it being based purely on a public vote is not the will of the people and giving the people exactly what they want and putting all that power and control in their hands to not have an Azerbaijan that scrapes through to the final for no reason.
Sure.
And then gets donuts.
But what I'm saying is that the jury still votes in the grand final, so you don't get a situation where that happens. Like if a jury helps send someone through, they're probably going to give that song some form of points. In fact, what you're seeing is the opposite. You're seeing songs escape through on a televote, scrape through, and then where they got all this positive televote sentiment in the semi-final, they then get biscuits in the grand final because it's just a concentrated
because everyone
vote
moved on to the thing that was in the other
diluting. For as long as Eurovision will continue to need a jury in the grand final for it not to be ruined permanently, I think it needs a jury in the semi-finals to be the same.
I respect it.
Rant over, Nick.
That's your piece.
That's my piece. I've spoken my piece. Nick, the final hear me out. Let me hear you out.
My final hear me out goes directly to you, dear listeners.
Hello.
Staging at the Eurovision Song Contest is fundamental to an act. I do not want to hear anyone ever again saying, oh, but it's the Eurovision Song Contest. It should just be based on the song and who sends the best song.
Very much.
You are living in 2001. You're living in 1980.
No, you're living in the old school where they still wore suits.
Exactly. This is no longer a relevant opinion to have. Staging is fundamental to a package for Eurovision. And if you don't believe that, you need to update your system of thinking. Over the years, the Eurovision Song Contest has built into such a performance piece. And I think a lot of the reason that it currently enjoys the spectacle and the viewership that it currently has is because of that pivot.
Yeah.
I think that if it was still just a group of people in suits standing and singing on stage, that the Eurovision Song Contest would have died years ago, as many talent show compatriots have, because it is not something that people are interested in as a product to see year after year after year. Now, I want to preface this by saying, I'm not saying that you need to send the Milkshake Man in a giant blender filled with smoke. I'm not saying that you need to send Theo Evan with his Vitruvian Man caging.
No, look, critical thinking alert's going to flash up again. Nuance exists, guys.
Exactly.
If it's not 0, it doesn't make it 100. It's somewhere in between.
But you cannot pretend anymore that staging does not factor into performance at Eurovision, and you cannot expect that it does not factor into people's enjoyment of a performance.
Well, can I add to that very quickly?
I would love you to.
Take it outside of Eurovision. You don't see Taylor Swift or Beyonce or any of these arena tours if you don't want some form of spectacle.
Exactly.
Like, Pink is not throwing herself around the stage and doing, like, flips in the air.
She's not doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah, like...
She's doing it for the people.
Like, spectacle has always been a part of entertainment, and music is entertainment.
Exactly.
So, like, spectacle of Eurovision is such a key point to... Yeah, I completely agree.
Exactly. And the thing is that there is so much room in this world for smaller, more intimate stage shows where it's just an artist with a guitar performing to a room of people. That is not what Eurovision is.
Well, I think...
And that is not what... That is not what drives a full stadium of people and a secondary stadium next door of people to come and enjoy an event.
He's ranting. No, I agree. I think the thing is with Eurovision, though, is if you want an intimate moment...
Yeah.
Zoe Me did that very well this year.
Yeah.
Like, intimate moments can still be created at Eurovision if you do it correctly. It's just... You know, I think this is in response to us kind of like talking about staging quite extensively in our How to Win series and getting multiple comments by people being like, well, staging's not important, guys. It doesn't factor into it. And it's like...
it's the Eurovision Song Contest, not the Eurovision Staging Contest.
Reductive opinion I've ever heard because art is not singular. Art is not just music. It is music and staging and entertainment package and emotion. And it's so many things that these people put into it. So, yes, I absolutely... agree with you.
If you want to see just a singer and a songwriter delivering a song beautifully on a stage, go to your local pub.
Go to a jazz club.
Exactly. You don't get a stadium show that encourages people to hang around for 4 hours just watching people trudge on and off the stage, perform their song and leave.
It's sort of steeped from this whole idea of I listen to real music and the Eurovision should be just about real music. And it's just like, oh God, imagine not being fun.
Yeah. And that's okay. There's space for people like that too.
You know what? We're willing to hear you out.
Exactly. And I'm sure that there will be plenty of opinions that you are very welcome to feedback to us in the comments.
Yes.
Respectfully. I think that we've tried to maintain an air of respectfulness around this as well.
I got really heated at points, so I'm not going to lie.
You did. You when you punched that woman?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, when I punched Nina Žižić. Yeah. Like, no more Balkan Ballads.
Dumb. But...
I would never punch Nina Žižić.
No,
I love you.
We love you, Nina. Go with your alien friends and your astronaut friends again.
Yeah.
Have a fun time.
Give more of that.
Yeah. But yeah, that is all I have to say on that.
He's sudden as truth.
I do sit in my truth, and I'm sorry for anyone that I have offended with my opinion, but I take absolutely none of it back.
Well, I've heard you out. We'll hear you guys out eventually. But we've come to the end of another fantastic episode of That's Eurovision Baby, where we have, I think, cathartically let a lot of our chest, a lot of opinions that have been sitting here that were like, why won't anyone hear us out?
This is actually just because we don't want to pay for therapy.
Yeah.
So it's been a really convenient excuse to be.
Thank you so much
completely
for being our sounding board, guys.
Yeah.
As always, guys, we love your comments as long as you keep it chill. But please let us know. Agree, disagree, but maybe give us some of your hear me outs.
Yeah.
You know what I'd love? If we did an episode based on fan hear me outs.
Literally
compiled them and then read them out. That'd be very cool.
If you've got a hot take that you would love to hear us chat on, debate on, whether it's that we will rip it apart because we don't agree with it, or whether it's that we think that you've got a really good point and honestly we think that we can make a video out of that. We love not having to think of our own ideas.
Leave us a comment.
Yeah.
Yes, we want this to be the space where we can all bring our underheard Eurovision opinions to the table for everyone to laugh and discuss and be positive about, because that's
Eurovision
baby. So with that, guys, we'll wrap up and say thank you for another fantastic episode. Please like, comment, subscribe,
do all the YouTube things.
Please get our viewer count and our follower count up in this Eurovision off season. The algorithm
we are running on fumes.
The algorithm punished us for taking 4 weeks off, so we're really trying to get back on that train. And let us know. Do you guys like us talking about Eurovision in the months where it's not Eurovision? Because
is this just bags of hot air deflating on a screen?
Yeah. That's also Eurovision, baby. Anyway,
thanks so much, guys.
Yep.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.